To truly gauge where journalism in the region is heading towards, you only have to speak to some of our younger generation. These are the young men and women who have chosen to pursue a career in journalism. At this Pacific Islands News Association Media Summit, student journalists from the University of the South Pacific and the Fiji National University were given a rare insight into how the profession across the region operates.
I want to be the voice of the voiceless in society. From this workshop and the summit, I've learned a lot of things, especially with regards to the issues facing other Pacific countries. There was this particular issue that I heard was in Palau, where they don't have any media center and they don't have any Bureau of Statistics we're taking information from. And for us in Fiji, we have all those available, but the thing is that we here in Fiji, we're taking it for granted. So it has opened my eyes to greater possibilities.
I took journalism mainly because I had a love for journalism, for sort of informing the people out there about issues that they didn't know about, but they had to know about. I felt that some people had the right to know about issues that were hidden, sort of political issues, and sort of like, as a citizen, like I think everyone has the right for a public say in stories. And recently we discussed that how much does the public trust the media? And sort of they were contradicting issues. Some didn't trust the media, some trusted the media. And for me personally, I think that most people do not trust the media. Just because you buy the paper does not mean you trust the media. Some people just sort of keep their issues within them, but I'm thinking that most people in Fiji only buy papers to just read issues, and most of the angles chosen there are grog bowl talk, not really supported with proper sources, but with sources just off the road and not really supported.
The good thing about this media summit is that, especially for student journalists, we get to get familiarized with how media organizations works around the region and of course around the world too as well. And it's really been really helpful to us as students, because in this summit senior media personnel are there, and we get to have receive advices too from them. Especially there are some who comes from the representatives from Radio Australia. There's some from New Zealand and of course around the Pacific too as well. So it's a challenge to us as student journalists, and it's really quite useful to us.
One of the main reasons I actually took up journalism was the fact that I've always wanted, there was always a thirst for information, and I love writing. So initially I thought I could get even a proper qualification in the field, and I think it's going to be an interesting field, and hopefully by the next 2 years I'd like to work in the field in print media.
For one third-year USP journalism student, there is a much more longer-term outlook for joining the profession.
The reason why I chose to do journalism is because I wanted to bring the change in society, to inform them about what's happening around us, inform them with facts and statistics, so that you know how we are working towards 2014 and trying to have a democratic elected government. I think it is important that we will play a very vital role in informing the people on who they should choose to lead us for another 4 years.
For fellow USP journalists Vanuatules, Miniat Manley and Fijian Sarah Vamarasi, there is no better profession to reflect and influence society's views and perceptions.
Being a participant at this PINA Summit has been a very overwhelming experience for me, because I have learned a lot from the sessions that have been held so far, because I get to hear experience from people who are involved in the media industry and work with media organizations that are very prominent in the Pacific. And what I hope to get out from it is hopefully a lot more insight into what responsible journalism is.
When I was in high school, I was really talkative and I loved English. And I used to write stories in school. And people used to tell me, you have the qualities of a journalist. Eh? So I thought, yeah, you know, if people can see that in me, then I should really try to harness my skills so that I can become better. And that's what I did. That's why I did journalism, because I really have a passion for it. I wanted to be the voice of those stories that never get printed, or for people who can't speak up for themselves. That's what I wanted to do. And and I'm a final year journalism student, and I'm finding it really good. There's been a lot of challenges in the field, but it's been coming along great, and I'm just looking forward to next year. Next semester we have our attachment, and then next year we'll have our jobs. So we're just looking forward to that. But currently I've just been volunteering for Fiji Media Watch, and just getting experience and the skills or whatever, networking, so that I can, so that when I reach the media field, that I already have some first-hand knowledge.
Practitioners like Radio Australia's Bruce Hill, however, believes that mentoring some of our young journalists will be key to the future of the profession in the region.
One of the greatest pleasures that I've had in my journalistic career is the ability to work with young people, especially with journalism graduates. It reminds me of when I wasn't old and bitter and cynical. Refreshes you. Hopefully your cynicism doesn't rub off on them.
Just as how social media is fast revolutionizing the profession, aspiring journalists like Sarah believes that unless the regional media adapt to some of these changes, it could run the risk of being left behind.
It's true, there's blogs now, there's all these type of things, it's coming out now. And I think that it kind of like is a threat to traditional journalism in a way, because they drag us in the mud too as well, like when they're saying stuff, because they're not journalists. They do like give their points and opinions and stuff like that, but they're not trained like we do, like to just get the facts, and stuff like that. So they kind of like give us I don't know, they're just, how can I say, they're just not trained journalists. But of course your opinions are valued. Whatever they say, there's a great value, but like we're not looking for, like, citizens need facts, not your own opinion. And I think I can contribute by just just developing myself to be a good journalist, so that whenever there's issues or if I need to write on something, that I can just go out and do that.
I don't think journalists we shouldn't big note ourselves too much and think, oh, we're precious, we're professionals, we're trained. Well, we do a lot of this sort of stuff, but just because a citizen is out there and sees something and reports back on it, or gives a video clip or provides a photograph, that can be mined as a resource for news. You just got to obviously check it and make sure that it's correct and so forth. But we've found, for example, with all this kerfuffle in Papua New Guinea with having two prime ministers, there's a tremendous Facebook group based in PNG called Sharp Talk, and it's been an absolute goldmine of information and news and views and things that people have seen and things that people have heard. Of course, it's also a room of control, but it's a really interesting way of taking the temperature of a situation, seeing what ordinary people are talking about. As mobile telephony and high-speed access to the internet starts to come on stream, mobile telephony is really big now, but this kind of social media is going to spread, especially among kids at first, but then they'll teach their parents and grandparents how to use it, and you'd be surprised what effect it's going to have. Some people have actually mentioned that before technology we had the coconut wireless. This is only going to make it turbocharged.
But the reality is that not all who study journalism in one form or another will end up as media practitioners. Many will eventually end up in other communication-related work for a much higher financial reward.
We've got some really good kids coming through in the Pacific. Fiji is a hub of journalism training in the Pacific, the Fiji National University and the University of the South Pacific. I've spoken to some of the kids coming through. I have to say, though, I also spoke to a couple of people who I knew from when I was doing some guest lecturing at the USB a couple of years ago, who remembered me, and they said, oh, we actually decided not to go into journalism, we've gone into public relations. And I said, why? And they said, you can't blame them, I guess. And this is one of the things. That I think we can all agree with Commodore Bainimarama about. Journalists just aren't paid enough.
But Pina Life member and founder of the Solomon Star, Father John Lamani, will, however, beg to differ. As he says, in journalism, information is the only currency. The rewards comes in the form of truth and accuracy, nothing less. And that's close up for tonight. Next week we will hear directly from Father John Lamani himself. Until then, good evening.